Hello, welcome back to Queen Beast. Let's see, last time you got thrown in the dungeon, then went through a very, very scary sequence, and got the light scabbard, and that allows Otto to transform into or to wear a suit of armor made of light. That seems really cool. We've just gotten out of the dungeon. Hey, the captain! A slurred cheer erupts from the crowd of rowdy-looking men sat at the foot of the tall staircase ascending further into the palace. The men are all carrying tankards, and the steps around them are littered with the sundry debris of food and drink. Judging by their attire, they're palace guards, but contrary to what one would normally expect, they don't appear to be trying to guard anything. Look, he's with him. Look, it's the prisoners. Another cheer. I felt just awful, just about throwing such a pretty girl into the pit. Sure, I'm glad she has managed to escape. Viva freedom. Yeah, I'll drink to that. Beer slops over the flagstones as the men knock their tankards together. Viva freedom! That's right, I was doing voices. Oh shit. What the hell is going on? They're all wasted. Are they usually like this? Drinking on the job is something I've strictly forbidden. And yet here they are. You're running a tight ship here, Captain. As their captain, I'd like nothing more than to line them up and show them some discipline, but that would be looking a gift horse in the mouth in this case. A gift horse? I'll just have to swallow my pride and take it as a stroke of good fortune that they aren't going to give us any trouble. Agreed, even though we have two strong swords and this potential healing artifact, it won't do us any harm to keep a low profile. I'm sure you'd be reluctant to turn your blade on your man anyway. I'm resolved to do whatever it takes to rescue my girl. We dissolve our hushed conference and make our way past the revelers, politely declining the various drinks that are proffered to us. As we ascend the tower, we encounter yet more gatherings of convivial soldiery and servants. It's as if the whole building is in the midst of a raucous party. A girl clad similarly to how Bronwyn was shrieks and laughs as she piggyback rides a shirtless man down the corridor. A sheet of dirty beard linen that was tangled around his foot comes loose as they pass us by. Just now, they're one of the beast's concubines. I think so, but they shouldn't be allowed to leave the upper floors unescorted. If things have gotten this disorderly, then... The sound of hurried footsteps approaching our position interrupts our speculation. A servant is coming down the corridor, a big basket piled high with yet more soiled linen in her arms. You can't see her face for her burden, but judging by her posture and the general air of preoccupation, she's still sober. Ooh, there's more here. Just how much mess do they intend to make? She sets the basket down and reaches for the linen at our feet. Araby! The servant freezes with her arms extended and looks up at Favor. To express the expression of surprise on her cute features quickly gives way to panic. Abandoning her casket, casket, she's not dead. Abandoning her basket, she turns and scrabbles away in the direction she came. Wait! Faber lunges forwards and grabs her by the wrist before she can break into full run. Oh, let me go. There's no need to run away, Araby. It's me, Faber. That's why I'm trying to run away. Eh? Come now, if this is about other men, you need not worry. We're leaving this place at once. We'll go somewhere where we can be together in peace. This has nothing to do with the rest of the guards. It's you. I'm trying to get away from you. My dear, what are you saying? I've got it. You must be drunk. Did they make you drink a lot? How awful. You're never good with alcohol. Faber releases the girl's wrists and grasps her firmly by the shoulders. I'm sure you're upset with me for not coming to rescue you sooner, but it's all right now. Faber's speech is cut short by a plaintive cry of vexation from the girl, who puts her hands against the chest plate of his armor and shoves him away with surprising force. Really now? Enough! Stop behaving as if your one-sided affection is mutual. What? One-sided? I don't feel the way about you that you feel about me. You would understand that if you had ever listened to me. You're so quick to chastise your own man for acting inappropriately, but you are utterly incapable of examining and reflecting upon your own conduct. You are an incorrigible, repulsive oaf. Finally got to say it. A supremely beatific expression blossoms on the girl's face for a moment, before she comes back to herself and steps quickly away from Faber, drawing her arms up against her body and scrutinizing him with a look of utter caution. It doesn't seem as though she need fear any retribution, however. Faber appears to have perished where he stands. After a time, she walks over to her fallen basket and wordlessly picks it up. She turns to us and bows stiffly, and we, with the exception of Echo, who appears to be struggling not to laugh, return similarly strained and apologetic expressions. We wait until she's out of sight before we approach Faber, who hasn't moved a muscle. Hey, Faber, can't think of anything to say. I look to Switch, who seems similarly embarrassed. Faber, you still good to go, champ? You're here to rescue everyone, right? Echo. What was I said, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the spirit. Let's press on, shall we? Echo plants herself on the broken man's head and gives him a couple of brisk slaps on the brow. This is sufficient to send him plodding up the corridor, looking like the world's saddest donkey. Oh, that's rough, buddy. But I get it. I get it. After a long night passed while we were down in the pit, and the sky is gradually lightening. We've been climbing the tower's spiral staircase for some time now, and we haven't encountered a soul since our encounter with Faber's supposed sweetheart. Far too quiet for my liking. Guards we could deal with if it came down to it. We've got 2 experienced swordsmen and a scabbard that will heal any injury. It'd be too easy, frankly. Conversely, the fact that we're not meeting any opposition is unsettling. It's as if we're still in that pit, stumbling along in the darkness. The merry chirping is of some little birds hopping about on a balcony interrupts my dark line of thinking, and somewhat deflates the tension. Looks like it's going to be a simply lovely morning. Okay, if you're the captain of the guard, why weren't you able to rescue your girl sooner? You think you're walking into a trap? Recent events have given me less cause to trust you. You've made yourself an enemy of all women. The muscles in Faber's face, perhaps as a reflexive reaction to female attention, attempt to pull his features into their formerly lively caddish configuration. Allow me to put your heart at ease. Yeah, just humour me. Well, to put it simply, my men and I aren't allowed anywhere near the beast's harem. In fact, all the upper floors are outside our jurisdiction. I mean, doesn't she trust us? You are betraying her right now. As she started it. The upper floors are guarded by a cohort of foreign eunuchs who answer to her beastliness directly. They're mercenaries of some kind. Eunuchs? Castrati. What language are you speaking? Castrated. I mean, they've got no balls, yes. It's not uncommon in Casper. Ah, so wait. What happened to their balls? Give it a rest. They might not have balls, but they're scary guys, highly skilled and unfailingly loyal to whoever's employing them. We don't want to tangle with them if we can avoid it. Are they going to take our balls? We continue our ascent through the seemingly deserted palace and arrive at the last landing before the throne room, without a single encounter, only the occasional distant sounds of folk in good cheer. No guards, no eunuchs, nobody. The way things have been going so far, I wonder if she's even going to be there. She's there, alright, I can feel it. From the scabbard. It wants to be whole again. If you say so. This is it then. Everyone ready? We surmount the final set of stairs and find ourselves in the very top of the tower, alone under a faintly luminous pre-dawn sky. The roof and walls of the room are fitted with many large windows, allowing the soft light to suffuse the high chamber. On a dais in the centre of the room is a throne for which the throne room is so named, but it stands empty. Oh, so you can feel it, huh? Well, she must be around here somewhere, anyway. I stalk across the polished floor and step up onto the dais to inspect the throne, anticipating the discovery of a hidden mechanism that, when operated, will reveal a secret passage of some description. I give it a good look over, poking the eyes and pulling the teeth of all the carved faces, but nothing is happening. I'm down on all fours and getting ready to peer under the seat, and Switch pointedly clears her throat and gestures with her eyes to the far side of the room. What is it? Ah. On the opposite side of the stairs we had used to come up is another set of identical stairs heading back down. I'd looked right at them and hadn't given them a second thought. Since we only followed one set of stairs up, these new stairs must logically lead somewhere else. Switch nods patiently, wearing a warm, maternal smile as I slowly arrive at these conclusions in my head. Oh, give me a break. I haven't slept in over a day. Oh, poor guy. The stairs lead down into an intimate, sweet-smelling room, which must be the beast's harem. At the far end, on a heap of embroidered cushions, and surrounded by empty bottles and discarded cups, are Bronwyn and the beast. Bronwyn is propped up against the pillar, her head slumped to one side in peaceful slumber, while the beast, in a similar state of somnolence, is curled up with her head resting on Bronwyn's lap. Like this, they really do look like sisters. I would probably think it was sweet if I wasn't so keen to rearrange the younger sister's face and tip her out the nearest window for poaching my spot. Winnie, wake up. Otto! We were communicating in a loud whisper at most, but nevertheless the beast begins to stir. She must be a light sleeper. Without sitting up, she opens a single sleepy, cat-like eye and blearily regards our party. You people again. Didn't I have you thrown in the pit? She sits up slowly, but evidently not slowly enough, as the next thing she does is clutch her head in pain and emit a lone whine. Oh my god, how much did I drink last night? She looks around at the array of empty bottles scattered across the floor, then turns to look back at Bronwyn, who returns a sunny smile, quite innocent. Too innocent. There isn't a woman in the valley who can hold their drink as well as Bronwyn. Rish once speculated, immediately prior to getting beaten up, that it all goes to her chest. There are more pitiful moans as the beast slowly pushes herself onto her feet, supporting herself on a hassock for balance. Halfway through, she seems to lose confidence in the idea of standing up, and settles for sitting down on it in a hunch, elbows resting on her knees. She stares ahead of her and grimly exhales before turning to look at us again. Faber, what are you doing with this lot? Have you betrayed me? Shut up, you imbecile. Ah, but everyone betrays me. You just can't find good help these days. Faber steps forward and levels his sword at her. If you feel as though everyone betrays you, your beastliness, perhaps examine your own conduct. Are you talking about that thing with Araby? You're still hung up on that. You're so stupid, Faber. Stupid, stupid man. They didn't kidnap Araby, you know. She's free to come and go as she pleases. She's just avoiding you because she finds you utterly repellent. It's rough. Faber, whose spirit seems to have at least partially recovered, has his spirit mercilessly crushed anew. His level sword begins to sadly, slowly droop until it's practically contacting the floor. The beast eyes her subject with contempt and heaves another sigh before continuing. Araby's the only one, though. Everyone else should be... Bryony. Where are the others? Don't tell me Well, you were feeling very sentimental during last night's little party. You were telling us that there's nothing more precious than family, and that you would personally see to it that everyone was reunited with their loved ones as soon as possible. Then... Well, I imagine most of them are on the first boat or carriage home by now. You ordered the eunuchs to ensure they had a safe journey. Why didn't anyone stop me? Bronwyn's guileless facade appears to be buckling under the effort of restraining her laughter. You're the top dog around here, remember? Who could possibly defy you? I think your sister would probably have escaped from here without our help, Otto. Yeah. The beast gives an utterly humorless chuckle and then goes back to staring at the empty space in front of her. First one to break the silence that follows is once again Faber. This is about more than just Araby. You've betrayed everyone in the provinces who brought you to power. Faber, would you just fuck off already? You're no ruler. You're nothing but a duplicitous fox who played at being a wolf. The beast seems to take exception to Faber employing one of her trademark canine metaphors, and shakily stands up. She fumbles clumsily around in thin air for a moment before the black sword obligingly appears in her hand like a servant handing her a glass of water. Whether I am a fox or a wolf, if you enter the lair of the beast, you must prepare to get bitten. Taste the people's rage, pretender. Monarch and vassal close the distance on one another, meeting in the middle of the somewhat cramped chamber with a reverberating flash of steel. Faber parries the beast's savage blows, perhaps more savage than usual on account of her hangover, with the efficient, practical swordsmanship of a well-trained soldier. It is a straightforward and economical, as his movements are. However, there's something strange about them. I don't know enough about sword fighting to say what it is. I look to the other expert swordsman in the room for some insight. Hey, is he losing or something? Don't you think you should help him? Switch just shrugs and makes a bemused face. Rather than saying he's losing, well, it's more like he's not even trying. Eh? The sword can't lie, his heart isn't in it. He's probably still sore about getting rejected by that girl. I can't fail to notice it after Switch has pointed it out. He's really only making the most token effort. Given the situation, he need not even fear a fatal injury. Baby, you bastard. Stop thinking with your dick. You're fighting for Byron's future. Take it seriously. If you get hurt, I'm not going to lift a finger to help you. The beast must have picked up on the mental chastisement I'm directing towards my supposed ally, because she soon seems to realize she's in a real fight. She cuts Faber down more as a formality than anything else. Planting a booted foot on his chest, she leans her upper body over her knee to squint into his face. Blood runs from Faber's wound, but underneath his mask of pain he has the indifferent look of a man who has lost the match he had already resolved to throw. Is this the people's rage? Are you mocking me? Faber's only response is an embarrassed chuckle. The beast clicks her tongue and straightens up, crushing her heel deep into his sternum as she does so. What the hell is going on this morning? I really feel as though I'm being taken for a fool, and I don't like it. She seems rather disarmed, but we've yet to actually disarm her. She turns now to look at Switch. Her eyes pass over me with complete disinterest, absolutely failing to notice the long wrapped object on my back. Am I just a giant potato to her? What is this farce, foreigner? Why did you come here? Switch gives an exaggerated shrug. It's as you suspect, the Zola Casparian plot to seize control of your quaint little kingdom, though you're really nothing more than a stepping stone on our greater designs for the North. Are you trying to conceal the truth by trivializing it? Nope, just pulling your leg. In actual fact, I'm looking for cute girls with big boots to kidnap and add to the king's harem. That's right, there's someone else out there as perverted as you are. Oh, never mind. I know I'm not going to get a straight answer out of you. We'll speak with our swords instead. The beast steps over the fallen Faber with one last withering look of disgust, and moves to the stairs, heading back up to the throne room. Whatever it is you want, you're going to have to go through me to get it. If you can't defeat me this time, I'll kill you. Come on up when you're prepared to die. With these words, she ascends the stairs. Switch stares at her, retreating back, the facetious smile slowly disappearing from her features. Back in the throne room, the two rivals pace into the open space before the throne with their weapons drawn. For a time, they silently regard one another. On their faces are placid, peaceful expressions that make the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. You wouldn't believe one was hungover and the other had spent the night fighting their way out of a dungeon in the nude. These must be the moments true swordsmen live for. In the lightening sky, the first ray of sunlight spills from the luminous horizon. With the unerring speed of light, it cuts through the glass chamber like a blade. In the same instant, the two swords meet for the second time. You might have gotten a bit prettier since last time I saw you. Thanks, I wish I could return the compliment, but you look like hell. Are you in love, perhaps? Surely not with that dopey-looking hayseed you've been dragging around with you. Ah! Naive, you're too naive. If you love him, you shouldn't have brought him here. You two should have just stayed together in that filthy pit, rotting away forever and ever. Who's in love? Oh, be honest, I can read you like a book. Quit your yapping. Ah, you're downright cute now. Shit, I'm starting to envy Lovey Boy over there. But wipe that moronic look off your face, Otto. She's just trying to psych me out. Good grief, every single one of you. If you aren't betraying me, you're betraying yourselves. Listen, you. Those that are honest with their desires, who are bold and forthright with their feelings, are strong. The climax of a particularly fierce exchange of blows results in a distance appearing between the combatants. Ooh! You are. Beast takes the opportunity to don her black armor and switch to cast an enchantment over her sword. The light that issues from the blade is so intense that I have to squint. It's too bright. Do you mean to dazzle me? A meaningless parlor trick. Do you think I can't smell your fear? The beast lunges forward into the eye-searing incandescence that only vaguely demarcates Switch's position. There's a heavy sound of metal entering flesh, and the light diminishes enough for me to discern the form of Switch. Nice. Nice. Skewered up to the hilt on the black sword. I have to get over there. I have to do something with the power of the scabbard. Wait, Otto, don't do anything rash. Keep believing in Switch. What? Iko is no friend of Switch's, but even she wouldn't look so calm now unless she's realized something I haven't. Of course, you couldn't see anything either. Whatever you were trying to achieve with that gamble, your bad judgment has cost you your life. If I had seen it coming, I would have avoided it reflectively. And then I wouldn't have been able to do this. A sword of light blazes brightly once more and flashes across the narrow space between the two women. When the light fades away, completely this time, the Black Knight is gone. Brandy, the runaway princess, is staring dumbly at the gouting stump where her right hand used to be. I hear her scream, but her mouth doesn't move. No, her sister is the one who screamed. Bronwyn is very far away from me, it seems. I tear my attention from Switch long enough to call out to her. Winnie, everything will be fine. I found our trump card. Just make sure your sister doesn't do anything reckless before I can get to her. Yes, I understand. I turn back to Switch, who is staggering in my direction, her complexion ashen, blood coming in a rhythmic spurts from her gory installation of a sword and severed hand jutting out of her midsection. I catch her before she falls. She's heavy. Magic scabbards or whatever can go to hell. A person's life is heavy. Otto, please, pull it out. I feel like I'm going to be sick. Yeah, no problem, Switch. You can relax now. I probably shouldn't relax too much. Right. This is usually what happens when you play things by ear. Sometimes it can't be helped. I wanted to fight her. Switch? Damn it, here goes nothing. I place my right hand over the severed one, still pridefully gripping the hilt of the sword. Not a large hand. Gently, I begin to pull. It's harder to remove than I imagined it would be. With the thrill of battle fast ebbing away, the pain of her wound assaults Switch empathetically, rousing her from her stupor. Try and hold still. She bites down on my neck to suppress her cries, and I use my free hand to hold her tightly against my chest. It's probably going to make the job harder, but I feel as though she'll disappear if I don't. You must look like the two slow dancers we encountered down in the pit. By the time I've pulled the blade free, I feel as though I've been drained of blood myself. I try to drop it, but I can't open my hand. I awkwardly lay Switch down on the blood-sloped floor and pull the scabbard free of its wrapping with my left hand. Okay, it's time to do your thing. Come on, just like before. And just how did I do it before? Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. By the great spirits, there is truly nothing more painful to behold than an amateur's attempt at sorcery. Echo, is that you? Oh, you're back. It is I. But what is happening? I would hear your desire, traveller. This is why humans are so... I'm throwing you a bone here, Otto. Did you really think a total layman like yourself would be able to draw forth the scabbard's power outside of that pit, where it was positively soaked in the most potent antediluvian magic? I don't know. You don't know? Oh, mercy. This is why I like you, Otto. When it comes down to it, you understand your place in the world. I feel like I'm being insulted, but whatever. What do I have to do to use the scabbard? You will be needing a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of power, both of which yours truly would be quite happy to grant you. We'll make another exchange of favours. I'll help you out now, and at some point in the future you'll do something for me, just like before. How does that sound? That sounds... great. I'll do anything, Echo. Just help me. It's a deal then. Man. I'll have you work hard for the sake of this land. What was I just... What are you staring at me for? This is all down to you, Otto. Right. I must have been overthinking things. That might be forgiven of me, given the circumstances. In order to use the scabbard, I need to simply let my intuition guide the magic forth. And like that, it comes. Ever so slowly, the trail of blood Switch left behind is drawn back into the wound. It forms a pattern of radiating spokes that gradually shrink away as colour returns to her face. Finally, the wound closes, leaving behind a long white scar that I cannot account for, given what I had imagined to be the time-reversing nature of the magic. Switch opens her eyes and gazes up at the glass dome with an expression of having awoken from a nightmare. I'm back. Switch, are you feeling okay? Ah, sorry, I didn't mean to worry you. Are you going to fix that? Her brown eyes are staring at the side of my neck. I raise a hand to find it wet with blood. Her teeth must have broken the skin. This, it won't kill me. I get to my feet, the black sword in my right hand, the white scabbard in my left. What are the rules here? Have they accepted me? Eerie visions of conquest and glory swim before my eyes. Things keep going like this. I could be king. I could wash the foul city below me of sin and ill prosperity, and bring justice and bring justice and plenty to the suffering provinces. Yes, it's surely divine providence that one of humble origin like myself should become this kingdom's redeemer. Everything until now was a trial to prove my worth. A small hand tugs sharply on my ear. Ow. Aren't you forgetting something? Echo draws my attention to a pasty, blood-soaked figure who has just appeared at the top of the stairs. Oh, yeah. Can't you work any faster? I just can't find the enthusiasm somehow. It's no fun if it's a guy, huh? Sorry. With Ava back in shape, there remains one more deed in me to work with the scabbard. The two princesses are where I left them. Bronwyn has laid the unresponsive, barely conscious Brandy down on the floor and placed her head back on her lap. Brandy's stump arm is bent at the elbow, sticking up in the air like the stiff leg of a dead dog. I prise the grasping fingers free of the sword's hilt and offer it to switch. Could you hold on to this for a moment? She accepts it with a grave expression, handling it as if it was something foul. What a dreadful blade. Holding it feels worse than having it stuck in your guts. A flicker of recognition comes into Brandy's paler than usual features as she notices me approaching. Not recognition of me, I suspect, but for the scabbard I'm carrying. As I kneel down beside her and get to work, her white lips draw back in a taut grimace. Brandy, stop making that face. I look up at Bronwyn, somewhat surprised by the edge of irritation in her voice. I haven't heard her use that tone in a long time. She notices me staring at her, and her hard expression softens into something more difficult to define. This girl is no stranger to pain, but she was never such a sore loser. It really has been a long time, Brandy. I'm sorry I was gone for so long. I looked back down at Brandy, who was still staring fixedly at the scabbard under her fluttering eyelids. What I thought was a pained expression now looks more like a snarl of contempt. Does it disgust you so, even to try and end this cycle of violence? Do you intend to keep nursing your hatred forever? For what purpose? Without her responding to my question, the bloody seam where Brandy's hand meets her forearm disappears, and I release it from my grasp. Whereupon the newly mended hand springs to life and grabs me roughly by the collar, dragging my face down close to hers. Her booze-soaked breath washes over me as she hisses some words I can't discern. Then the grip of my collar goes limp as she finally loses consciousness. Whether it was a refutation or a concession is something only she knows. Maybe she didn't hear my questions at all. I pull away from her and stand up, feeling tired and sick. Brandy is still poaching my spot on Bronwyn's lap, but I decide to drop the matter for now. Reparations can be arranged later. The familiar sound of my friend's armoured boots approaches, and my upper arm tingles in anticipation before I feel the slight thump. Good work, Otto. Same to you. Mission accomplished, eh, adventurer? It may be so, but I don't like the way you said it. Here, put this thing away. Switch hands me the sword, shaking off the allure of its power, as though it were a warm, heavy cloak worn on a pleasantly cool day. I thrust the blade into the scabbard. Hey. It's only now that I feel as though I'm in possession of myself again, no longer the agent of some strange flow of events beyond my control or understanding. I let the complete artifact hang limply in my hand, and trudge over to the window to lean the side of my face against the cold glass. My eyes wander over the rooftops of the city, over the docks, and onto that great plain stretching all the way to the horizon, shining with a million facets of reflected sunlight. Hey, I'm here, over here. I was worried no one was going to come. Hello? 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 I was worried no one was going to come. Falcon's landing and the turning wheel. Looking back on it now, it seems that the brilliant sun that rose on the morning was, in truth, the lowering of the curtain on my blundering and unsightly adventure. The days that followed were actually very eventful, but I myself played almost no part in them. Even now they're starting to blur together in my memory. Brandy, the central character of the drama, fell gravely ill after our fateful encounter. She is said to be lingering on the border between life and death. Pushed a patch 2 for a streamer mode? Yeah, I did see that, thank you. It was really cool. I like that. As a result of this, Bronwyn remains imprisoned in yon high tower, only now a prisoner of her own noblesse oblige. I'm a man of my word, and I won't return home without her, which is why I'm still here in the capital, well fed, lying on a comfortable bed, and lost in these thoughts at the palace's expense. Sorry for getting the last stream age restricted. No, I kind of figured this would happen eventually. I mean, you know, it is this type of game. It is YouTube. I'm telling you, Otto, you must be cursed. Cursed? Ever since I got the scar, I've met with nothing but misfortune. Do you know what other adventures are calling me now? Go on. Switch the scantily clad. Don't laugh. Well, you're not exactly unscathed anymore, so... You think I can't hear the pride in your voice when you say that? Now, I'm sure they intended as a term of endearment. You've been working hard to set the guilds here straight after all. It went pear-shaped. That's right. After the incident in the palace, rumours about what had transpired there escaped faster than we did, seeping through the cracks in the walls and spreading through the city. The corrupt guild quickly fell into a panic and began discreetly and violently eating its own tail. Thankfully, there were more among them loyal to the organization's principles than we had anticipated, and Switch was not without allies in this foreign land. If I'm so endearing, why do people keep trying to kill me? Which is not to say she hasn't made any enemies, however. In the past couple of weeks, there have been at least 3 attempts on her life that we know of. It's starting to become disturbingly routine. I haven't had cause to use the scabbard's power again yet, but I wonder if the knowledge that I could use it, if it came down to it, isn't somehow distorting my sense of reason. At the moment, that ancient and sorcerous regalia blade has been wrapped in a sackcloth and propped up in the corner of our inn room, looking like any other piece of adventurer's equipment. I didn't think it was wise to leave it in the care of the palace. Anyone who knew what they were looking for would be looking for it there. Yes, it's far better to hide it in plain sight, where I can keep an eye on it. Hey, are you listening to me? Ugh. My musings are interrupted by a suit of armor crashing down on my chest. I'm begging you, take that stuff off before you get on top of me. You've gotten a lot bolder, Otto. I mean, you can put something else on first. That seems like a waste of time. You're just going to get me out of it anyway. Aww. There's a series of sensual underclasping noises and a series of not so sensual clanging and clattering noises as Switch escapes from the confines of her armor and discards it on the floor. Cute. Every night since that day, I've had the same nightmare. The reassuring warmth and weight of Switch's body next to mine disappears, and my arms are suddenly holding nothing, in the same way the treasures you clutch to your chest at the end of an avaricious dream turns out to be nothing but your old straw-stuffed pillow upon awakening. Only Switch is there in my waking life. The joy she brings me is the real thing. And this is the dream, surely. That dream again. How many times has it been now? I've lost count. I've lost count of how many times I've awakened from that fabula and found myself back here at the bottom of this ravine, under that hateful moon. The first few times I was confused. I would look down to check if my leg, which has long since grown numb, was still broken. Difficult to accept that mere minutes or even seconds are all that pass here for the entire days I spend there. But then, these visions must be the final desperate doings of my perishing mind. Sooner or later, I'm going to drift off into that fantasy world and never return. 'Tis inevitable. Even now, as I tongue this bitter pill, as if to stimulate my senses with its foul taste, do I feel my thoughts growing dull and hazy. It's no wonder you're having dreams like that, friend. Huh? Look up from the beer I had been contemplating and into Favor's flushed, bleary face. Takes a moment to remember what I'm doing here. It's strange, I haven't been drinking all that much. You only have yourself to blame for taking that wild Brumby to bed with you. You mean Switch? Who else? Otto, my friend, I'm going to be very upset with you. If you have been courting more than one lass while I've been nursing my poor broken heart. There's nothing like that going on, it's just Switch. But I don't understand what you're getting at. Do you think she's going to stick around here forever, just to be with you? I doubt it. I know her type, free-spirited. She must be itching to go off on her next adventure. Just because you can't hold on to a woman. I'm not trying to pick on you here, Otto. I'm just saying she'll leave. They always leave. Araby didn't leave you. She was never with you in the first place. Even after I went to the trouble of rescuing her from that scoundrel. And she wasn't being held captive either. You're just going to believe what you choose to believe, aren't you? You don't need to entertain this inebriate's ramblings, Otto. Yeah. Damn it, why did she have to let them all go? Why couldn't she have let me rescue just one of them? Why can't I be the knight in shining armor? Bieber empties his stein with a deep draught and slams it down onto the counter, making the other occupants of the table, Echo included, jump a little into the air. Barkeep, another drink for me and my doomed friend here. And bring something sweet for this acid-tongued little devil as well. Yay, keep them coming. I get up from my seat and set an old bronze coin still bearing the vainglorious profile of King Darius down on the table. No more for us, thanks. Come on, Echo. Ah, suit yourself. I'll have both of those beers, barkeep. Don't you think you've had enough to drink? It's not even noon. Otto, my boy, you are still very young. Granted. And you have yet to realize the truth. So, we kind of have a place we need to. That is the summation of life's experiences is nothing more than a cycle of false hopes and crushing disappointments. You just keep going around and round this vortex until you eventually drown. Yes, all men are doomed to someday drown. And I feel that, rather than drowning in misery, it's better to drown in booze. Faber gives a vulgar laugh and then steers off at some faraway place. The well-endowed barmaid brings him another 2 steins of frothing beer. After exiting the tavern, Echo and I resume our original, somewhat delayed, objective. Well, it's a pretty landscape, I like that. We leave the city through the north gate and make our way along the coastal road leading to this sanatorium where Brother and the other occupants of the pit have been cared for after it was emptied on Bronwyn's orders. As I walk, I pick up tiny stones and cast them about. Echo zips around to catch them, matching their speed and trajectory to snatch them out of the air as gracefully as a swallow. And she does it again. What a catch! There's something weighing on your thoughts. You can always spill your guts to me. I promise I won't laugh. Do you think I would make a good adventurer? You said you weren't going to laugh. I know, I'm not. Are you that bothered by what Faber was saying about Switch? He was drunk. He was being honest. It's a fact that the pretext keeping her here in Byron disappearing. Pretext, eh? I might be deluding myself by thinking of them as pretexts. My girl's heart is inscrutable. You're just being conceited and green. You're so green you're making me queasy. And since you asked for my opinion, you'd make a lousy adventurer as well. You're the kind of guy who puts down roots, Otto, and they'll become deep roots if you allow them to. It is by no means a bad thing. But it's not what I wanted to hear. What am I supposed to do? Cover my branches with bird lime and wait for her to come to roost? I suggested nothing of the sort. The workings of your mind are truly disturbing, young man. Just think about what I said. I do not grant counsel to mortals lightly. We eventually arrive at the grounds of the sanatorium, a large whitewashed building that looks like a hastily converted temple. Before we can go in, however, a nun rounds the corner of the building with a basket full of clean sheets and informs us that Brother is no longer bedridden, is in fact taking a swim down at the inlet. He was looking pretty chipper last time I saw him, but I wasn't expecting him to be up and swimming of all things already. We make the short trip down a sloping meadow that levels off before suddenly truncating at the rocky shoreline. I scan about, but I can't see any sign of Brother, only a cairn of dark rocks that seem foreboding and incongruous with the summery seascape. Brother, where are you? Echo flies up to survey the area, but returns shortly afterwards, shaking her head. I had to draw this rock pile about 3 times. It's quite difficult to get the rocks to look right. Damn it, what were they thinking letting him go for a swim after spending a year rotting away in a cave? I'm about to jump in myself when something breaks the surface of the water. It's a man holding a big rock over his head. He clambers awkwardly ashore under the weight of his burden and slams it down on the grass. His own body following shortly after, he rolls onto his back, gasping for air. Brother, what on earth are you doing? Brother looks up at the sound of my hail and waves at us, before grabbing his ragged old robe and pulling it on over his head. I didn't know there was different types of cairns, to be honest. Hello there, Otto. I haven't seen you for about a week, I think. I'm sorry, I've been a little... Seriously, why are you pulling rocks out of the sea? Rehabilitation, I suppose. I wanted to help take care of the others, but the sisters chuckled at me for being too clumsy. You always were hopeless at that sort of thing. You've grown a lot taller. I would hope so, after 10 years. I'm still a bit shorter than you, though. How frustrating. At least I can take some solace in my muscular physique. I didn't fail to notice. Why do you think I'm hauling these rocks around? Hey, is that why? Brother bends down and picks up his haul. He slots it carefully into the cairn in a spot that could have been made specifically for it. That about does it. Huh? Out of the 172 prisoners who were rescued from the pit, 86 have died. Darius was one of them. I'm sorry, brother. My father's long nightmare has finally come to an end. I know what you're thinking, Otto, but the scabbard's power wouldn't have been able to do anything for him, or any of the others. It would have been like treating poison with more of the same poison. Besides, that power over life and death isn't something that should be used at all. But if I hadn't taken the thing out of there, then they would have simply persisted in that meaningless existence forever. We did the right thing, Otto. For once, I'm sure I made the right decision. Brother places his palm flat against the solidly built cairn. Those whom the world of light would not create, the sun can shine down on these stones for all at once. They won't wither away. For the rest of us, it's time to go home. I'm going to head over to the palace. None of the sisters would give me news of how Brandy is doing, so I'm just going to have to see for myself. As far as I know, she's been unconscious this whole time. I glance towards Echo, who simply shakes her head and shrugs. It is as Otto says. Well, maybe hearing the voice of her second most hated person will be enough to bring her around. If only so she can slug me one in the face. Brother takes his leave of us with a wave of his hand, and I quickly lose sight of him in the mid-afternoon crowd. Only the tower remains, looming high over all the rooftops. I feel as though, no matter what I do, I'm losing everyone I care about to that tower. After parting company with Echo, I head back to the inn, where Switch is likewise nowhere to be seen. I'm completely alone now, go figure. I eat a meal I can't really taste, and taking Faber's sagacious advice, I have a few drinks. The narrow stairs swim beneath me as I retreat back up to my room. Oh. Seems I have some company after all. It's a mouse. A little white mouse sitting boldly on the small table beneath the mirror, nibbling on a crumb from a heel of bread that had been carelessly left there. For millers like myself, our first instinct when we see a mouse is to destroy it with extreme prejudice. So strong is this conditioned reflex that I've taken off my right boot and am holding it ready to throw before I catch myself. I'm a long way from the mill now. I have no quarrel with this rodent. I wasn't going to eat that bread anyway. I take the chance to look more closely at the little fellow. They might be pests, but they really are cute. I throw the boot. It misses the mouse by a mile and instead strikes the mirror, shattering the pristine surface. The mouse, not wanting to push their luck, doesn't stick around. I wonder if I wasn't aiming for the mirror to begin with. I don't see the point in those things. Why would anyone want to examine their own reflection so clearly? I feel listless. I fall down on the bed. I look up at the ceiling for a while and then turn my limp head to gaze out the window. The blue sky of noon has become dreary and overcast. Perfect. The hazy, indistinct light of the sun slowly falls behind the roof of the opposite building, forming a sharp black relief against the luminous grey clouds. As I stare, that black shape created by presence of physical matter becomes instead an absence, a void. There's nothing there, and the nothingness pulls me in. I'm back here again. Back here again. I mustn't think like that. I haven't gone anywhere in the first place. I may be within the jaws of the trap. But the fact that I'm still here and still lucid means they haven't snapped shut just yet. There's still hope. Someone will come to rescue me. I just have to hang on until then. Someone will come. I'll be rescued. And I'll live my real life. On my way back to the palace after another research session at the university, I crossed paths with the party of adventurers I'd hired to investigate the pit and rescue its inhabitants. Looks like they're finishing up for the day as well. Switch, the party's leader, excuses herself from their company and comes over. Beneath her cheery manner and unflagging professionalism, she still seems somewhat ill at ease around me. Can't account for her apparent discomfort. Did I do something to offend her? Howdy, Bronwyn. Been hitting the books again? That's right. I think I have a pretty clear picture of things now. How about you? Made any new discoveries? On the contrary, I think by this point we've combed every inch of the place twice over. I'm sorry to hire you for such a boring job, Switch. It's only the idea of having missed someone down there is keeping me up at night. Hey, I'll do what I'm paid to do, and I'll go down there another dozen times if you like. No, I trust your judgment. If you say the place is cleared out, then it must be. I'll see to having the entrance sealed off at the next opportunity. Gotcha. I'll start writing up a report for the guild then. Still, I'm filthy. May I avail myself of that wonderful bath? Please, go ahead. I might join you after I've visited Brandy. Later then. With that, Switch heads off to the palace. The other adventurers, taking that as their cue, disperse and begin moseying their way out, bidding me farewell as they go. I watch them leave through the gate, envying their freedom and wondering what distant lands and perilous quests their vocation will take them to next. After they're all gone, I follow Switch inside. As I enter Brandy's chamber, Araby looks up from the seemingly constant vigil she keeps at her lady's bedside and gives me a weak greeting. The scene is the same as always. Brandy is laying supine in the bed, the outline of her tall, lean body visible under the thin summer bedclothes, and her hitherto merely pale countenance looking more and more like a solid death mask as the days pass. Araby, entirely drained of the frantic but vivacious energy she put into serving her is looking increasingly wasted herself. Despite daily care from the palace's most experienced healers, there seems to be nothing more they can do to revive her from her comatose state. They're keeping her from expiring entirely, but they won't be able to keep it up forever. I recall the recent visits I made to the sanatorium prepared for those interred in the pit. Despite the best efforts of the sisters and healers, roughly half of them had passed away. However, those that had survived were all, at that point, more or less conscious. Given this, Brandy remaining in this vegetative state is hard to explain. Am I completely mistaken in comparing the curse afflicted by the sword with the curse inflicted by the scabbard? Am I barking up the wrong tree altogether?
Are you doing this on purpose? Eh?
It seems as though I spoke aloud without intending to. Araby has a rather hurt expression.
I'm sorry, Araby. I wasn't addressing you. I know that, but do you really think she's punishing us? What? No, is that what you meant?
I did it again.
Not really. I'm just tired. I'm just interpreting her silence how I please. What I was going to say was, maybe she's trying to escape? As in, escape from the consequences of her actions? Yes. I wasn't expecting such a cynical interpretation from you. You don't have a monopoly on cynicism, Bronwyn.
I wasn't imagining it before. Despite how she appears, Araby really is as sharp as a tack. She's seen right through me.
Araby, even though we've only known each other for a short while, I already consider you a true friend. I feel the same way. Given that, let me ask, the way you were when we first met, the way you were crying and panicking over everything, was that all some kind of act? I believe so. I believe those were my true feelings. But the only person who could make my heart move like that is now in this state. If nothing changes, sooner or later she'll... Well, aren't you the one putting on an act? Yes, for a long time, I think. You pretend to be everyone's caring big sister, but your real sister is lying here, and you can't... Ooh. I'm sorry, Bronwyn. I'm being horrible to you. It's okay, Araby. I'm actually rather happy there's someone who sees me for who I am. For the past 10 years, I didn't know if my sister was even still alive. And then, when she does reappear, it's to kidnap me and stage this preposterous obfuscation instead of coming to me openly. If I've been acting, it's only because she's been acting as well. If she ever wakes up, maybe then we'll have the chance to repair our bond. But for now, my feelings as an older sister shall remain with Otto. Unlike me, that boy has an honest heart.
That's funny, he said something similar about me. I turned towards the source of the voice that suddenly spoke up behind me. At the doorway is a young but strangely aged man whom I last saw laid up in a sanatorium bed. Though he's standing up right now, he seems much slighter a figure than the dashing princely youth I remember from my childhood.
Oswald.
Araby regards the new visitor with a look of unconcealed hatred that doesn't surprise me. She's not comfortable around most men, let alone her great lady's great betrayer. The fact that she hasn't immediately attacked him is quite commendable.
Eavesdropping is a nasty habit.
I apologize. You two ladies have been speaking quite loudly, however. The gracious smile falls from Oswald's face as his attention moves to Brandy's inert form.
Don't come any closer.
Yes, I understand. Araby was obviously expecting more of a fight, as she seems quite taken aback. Regardless, she continues to stare down the now crestfallen-looking Oswald, struggling to think of what I could say to either of them, and very much wishing I had a hole to disappear into now. Skip too fast. When I hear someone else approaching. This is an awfully lively gathering for the doorway of a sick person. Switch. You didn't come to join me, Bronwyn. I had to put up with this little goblin for company instead. Bite me, human. The appearance of Switch and Echo cuts through the sullen atmosphere like a sharp, tactless knife. I don't know if I want to laugh or cry. Bronwyn, you were saying earlier that you now had a pretty clear picture of things, right? Yes. After I've swung by the guild, I'm going to head back to the inn and eat some supper with Otto. Do you want to come along so you can fill us both in on what you've found out? Yes. I'd love to go somewhere else and see Otto. Great. You got anything you need to take care of here? No, I was just on my way out. Howdy, Oswald. It's nice to see you up and about. You want to come too? Thank you for the kind offer, but I'm afraid I'll have to decline. I've troubled Otto enough for one day. You think so? That's too bad. Maybe next time. Yes. Oswald gives our assembled company a sad smile, casts one last fleeting look at Brandy, and then slinks slowly away down the corridor. His unshod feet seem to make no sound. Poor guy. I wish there was something we could do for him. Shall we go then? Hey, Otto, you feeling okay? Huh? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I didn't mean to bore you. Sorry. I'm sitting at the table in our room. Switch is sat beside me. On the opposite side, Echo and acutely pouting Bronwyn. Spread between us is a small feast, a basket of fresh bread and platters of meats and cheeses, a pot of chutney and a pitcher of wine. There's even some fresh fruit, apples, grapes, and those ones like small oranges called tangerines. On my plate is evidence that I've been eating and presumably interacting normally with the others up until this moment. But how did I get here? Shall I continue, or shall we leave it for tomorrow? Bronwyn isn't posing the question sarcastically. I'm making everyone worry. No, please go on, Winnie. I'm listening. I promise. Well, as I was saying, the records in the palace prior to Darius's reign were almost all lost, but I evidently found what I was looking for in the well-stocked library at the university. It seems as though the sword was forged from an ore with potent magical properties, found only within the veins of Dragon's Back, a mountain in northern Casper. You mean... I looked at Switch. The mountain from that story you told me? That's the one. A famous site, as you might imagine. Indeed, there is a monastery cum workshop of sorts on the slopes of the mountain, which is home to only smiths who know how to handle this ore correctly. Correctly? They use the ore to make peerless magical blades for the Casperian nobility and soldiery. They're still making weapons, so perhaps correctly isn't the best choice of words. Safely, I should say. The specifics were too esoteric for me to understand, but essentially, if the ore is not processed in the right way, as is evidently wasn't by the smiths of this country when they got their hands on some, it can potentially produce a different kind of magic blade. This blade is possessed of great power, but will exert what was described as a corrupting influence on the mind of its wielder, stoking their base instincts and desires and decaying their reason. Does that sound familiar? If that is the case, the scabbard was made afterwards to dampen this effect? That's what I surmised as well. A proper hack job then, eh? Well, that's one way of putting it. Nevertheless, the scabbard is an incredible contrivance in its own right.
to the point that I wonder if the complete article doesn't yet exert an influence of its own.
Behind her round glasses, Bronwyn's eyes flickered briefly towards the shattered mirror at the far end of the room.
That was an accident. There was a mouse and...
I trail off. Switch leans back in her chair and lets out a sound between a whistle and a sigh.
It looks as if my next mission is decided then.
What?
I don't like where this is going. Someone is going to have to take that sword to the arcane metallurgist in Casper so it can be safely destroyed. And there's no better someone for that job than me. You don't have to go. I can't stay here forever, Otto. I was going to have to return sooner or later in any case. It would just have to be sooner now. I've already settled my business with the guild, so I could leave as early as tomorrow morning. It won't do to sit around on my hands when there's something I can do to help you.
I don't need help. I bring my fist down on the table, making everyone start.
I've been kind of reluctant to say anything, but you're kinda coming apart at the seams, Otto.
The stink of the pit still clings to you.
Winnie. I am of the same opinion as Switch. You don't seem to be yourself as of late.
What is this? I feel like I'm being surrounded by strangers wearing the faces of the people I love. I have absolutely no intention of using it, you know. I'm just keeping an eye on it here because I don't know who I can trust. I'm not going crazy and I don't need any help.
Okay, Otto, I trust you.
I get the feeling she doesn't trust me at all.
Nevertheless, we must still destroy the sword.
Why?
Because I strongly suspect it is more than just a powerful cursed weapon. It is the very instrument by which that entity you encountered down in the pit, the one Oswald calls the Queen Beast, steals into the hearts of men.
What? You're the one acting crazy now. Bronwyn sighs and removes her glasses to massage the bridge of her nose. When she speaks again, her voice is edged with the barest hint of irritation.
I wouldn't be saying this if I only had baseless speculation to go by. Aside from my own research, however, I've had the exceptionally rare privilege of consulting with a former evil spirit on the matter.
She smiles at Echo, who rubs the back of her head in embarrassment.
Shucks, you're making me blush, Winnie.
Nothing she's saying is crazy, Otto. If you need an example, you saw firsthand the effects of destroying my phylactery tree had on the rest of the forest.
If this country is to have any hope of moving into the future, it has ill need of such a dark relic.
The country's future. I slowly stand up from the table, my eyes not straying from my empty plate. I don't have the slightest interest in the country's future. I've lived my whole life without being part of it. Why does that have to change? Why does anything have to change? We can just go back to the valley and resume our real lives.
Including me. Think I'd make a good farmer, eh?
That is...
Returning to the valley. That may not be possible for quite some time, Otto. This is your life now.
That's what Bronwyn is telling me.
This is your life now.
But tomorrow it might be something else again. A life without Switch, for example. This moving into the future. This is the wheel that turns, not with the effort of one's own body, but with the fickle fancy of the wind. After seeing off Bronwyn and Echo, Switch returns to our room. For a while she stands where I'm sulking in bed with her hands on her hips. It's dark, but I can tell she's giving me a look. When I don't say anything in reply, she breaks away and walks over to the window.
There's no moon tonight. I bet the stars outside of town are beautiful. Come on, let's go for a walk. You'd use the fresh air and exercise.
I don't want to get up, but I don't want to be apart from Switch either. Wordlessly, I roll out of bed and onto my feet. My eyes are drawn to the wrapped sword in the corner. You won't need that. I've got a dagger hidden under my skirt, for if we run into trouble. Tomboy. I have never considered that to be a pejorative. Switch and I leave town by the western gate and walk up the road that runs alongside the river. The road is unlit, but the staggering array of stars cast into the massive sky above us is bright enough to light the way. If we keep going in this direction, we'll eventually reach the valley. We're still hung up on that idea, huh? We'll have to turn back long before that. Why do we have to turn back? There are still deeds that must be done. We fall into silence and remain that way until we come to the foot of a hill sitting beside the road. Switch moves from my side and begins walking up to the crest. I watch her go for a moment, as if testing the notion for how as long as I can bear it, and I follow after her. You know, I've yet to tell you my real name. I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong impression before, but I don't want to hear it. You don't mean that. I just have the feeling you're going to do more than simply tell me your name. You know, you've really gotten to understand me. Okay, clean out those airs. It's a pretty long name, so I'm only going to say it once. Let's just get this over with. My real name is Cesarin Lewis Cagliostro Casper. Cesar. It really is long. It's too long. Everyone used to call me Reen. I'll stick with Switch. Well, I thought you would say that. I don't dislike it. Anyway, there are people out there who will tell you that it's the name of the rightful ruler of Casper. And until quite recently, I was one of those people. You've got to be kidding me. Sorry, Otto. I'd like to be able to say that more than anything, but it's the truth. I haven't even gotten to the really ugly stuff yet. This is a nightmare. My mission with the guild was just a pretext for coming here. My personal objective was to investigate the political situation in this country and see how I could manipulate this land of ignorant barbarians and their savage warlord queen into moving as I please. Perhaps instigate a little border conflict to destabilize things back home. You know, the usual intrigues deposed royalty like to occupy their time with. A war. You were... That's right, that's the kind of person I was before I met you, Otto. Switch was just a mask worn by a bitter little girl living trapped in the past. Well, maybe it still is. You said before that you can't remember your parents' faces, didn't you? Yeah. Well, I remember mine. I remember their faces as they were executed by a hated rival branch of our family. I couldn't forget their faces even if I wanted to. Switch. But after meeting you, all the ordinary people I was thinking about how to drag into the misery of war for my own personal revenge suddenly had faces of their own. Faces, names, thoughts and feelings. And then I met the beast, and meeting her was like looking into a mirror. I saw exactly who I would have become if I hadn't met you. That's why I'm truly grateful to you, Otto. Being you, you may not feel you deserve it, but it can't be helped. If you've changed to that degree, why do you have to go back? If you no longer feel the desire to take revenge, why can't you just stay here and make a new life for yourself? There is nothing that would make me happier. But even if I do nothing, the peace that Casper has enjoyed for the last 8 years, the peace that was sealed with the blood of my kin, is going to be broken. Do you remember Princess Opal?
She's a part of this as well. Once the current king dies, which won't be long now, she'll be made queen. She's about the same age as you and I, but unlike us, she's a sheltered child who knows nothing of the world. The sharks that surround her will simply tear her to shreds, and the land will be ruled by bloodshed again. I'm going back to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. If necessary, I'll join hands with that blood nemesis. I'll do what I must. I won't repeat the mistake the beast made. I'll return not as Sasarine of Casper, but as Switch, the adventurer. I'll wear this mask until it becomes my real face. Then, let me come with you. We make a good team, don't we? Otto, you're not going to spend the rest of your life as my pack mule. I don't care if I'm a pack mule, I just want to be with you. I can't allow that to happen. You have to be your own man. From now on, I'll carry my own burden. And you'll carry yours. What do you mean? She's far from ideal, but nevertheless, the beast is the closest thing this country has to a ruler. Though you bear no sin, it is in part due to your decisions that she's currently on the brink of death. If she dies, the future of this country will be just as bloody as the one I foresee in Casper. You're the one who wanted to fight her. I'm not trying to apportion the blame. On the contrary, Otto, I'm the one who has, at least in thought, committed many grave sins. However, the place where I must redeem myself is not here. You're agonizing over this whole business too much. It's not accurate to compare Casper's problems with Byron's. After all, you know this country might be better off without Brandy. If she dies, Winnie will probably take charge of things instead. Not an ideal solution, but I'm sure she'll do a much better job. Otto, are you even listening to what you're saying? I give a start at the southern iciness in Switch's voice. I meet her eyes, which seem to be filled with a golden flame. She's chewed me out before, but this must be the first time she's been genuinely angry with me. You intend to just leave it all to Bronwyn? You will foist upon her shoulders the grief of losing her sister and the weight of a whole country. What sort of brother would that make you exactly? Did you come here to rescue her or not? If those really are your feelings on this matter, then I've greatly misjudged you. It's not, I feel myself beginning to physically crumple under the weight of Switch's condemnation. I crouch down and bury my face in my knees. I guess I'm just a pathetic, needy person, and I feel like I'll become even more pathetic without you. It's simply not true. If you were all that pathetic, I wouldn't have fallen in love with you in the first place. Jeez, what a miserable expression. Hey boy, you're allowed to look honestly delighted when a cute girl tells you she loves you. Sorry. Switch lets out a long sigh and drops her arms to her side. I give up. It's impossible to stay mad at you for longer than a few minutes. I guess in that respect you are pretty pathetic, in the sense that you inspire pathos, I mean. Come now, it was just a joke. There's a rustle of grass as Switch approaches. Will you stop squatting like that? You look like you're about to start sprouting mushrooms. Come and sit down over here. She nudges me with her foot in the direction of a log forming an impromptu bench. I shift myself over to it, and she sits herself down neatly beside me. You're still just staring at the ground. Tonight's a good opportunity, so take a proper look at the stars. I do as she says and lift to my face, and when I do, the countless stars crash over me. Otto, back when you were thrown into the pit and died from the fall, did you happen to see an unusually vivid dream? I did. I dreamt I was a fish swimming up a river. But I became separated from my school and got caught by a human. Then I was, cooked and eaten. I feel Switch's shoulder shake against mine as she laughs. That's so like you. Well, what about you then? I dreamt I was a bird, flying in the sky. Ah, that sounds nice. It's just like you too. It wasn't nice at all. There was absolutely nothing else. Just me and the sky. I flew and flew until my wings were burning with pain, but no matter how far I went, there was nowhere to land. In the end, I just had to give up and let myself fall, and that's when I woke up at the bottom of the pit. Then, later on, I must have lost consciousness after the beast struck me with that sword, because that's when I saw the continuation of the dream. I hadn't landed at all, I was still falling. The strength to beat my wings even once was gone from me. I cannot say for how long it was, so... But eventually, I woke up, and you were there. Has talking about dreams made you sleepy? Maybe. I haven't slept very well recently. I've noticed. I tell you what, Otto. If you don't want to say goodbye, just close your eyes. When you open them again, I'll be gone. What? That's not clear. I know. This is for the best. What are you doing here? I don't need your false future. I reject it. No matter what, I will continue to live in the real world, because I have hope. Are you crying? Don't weep for what you have lost. It was never yours in the first place. You don't even exist. You're nothing but a figment of my imagination. My only salvation is the one who will crest that ridge and deliver me from this place. It probably won't be the girl of my dreams. In all likelihood it will be some hairy old man like the chief. But that's reality. Nobody came to rescue me. You're a big guy. Stop acting childish. Rather than simply disappear, you would now deny the foundation of even your own fictitious existence. Why? It only came back to me when I was talking with Switch just now. I was lying at the bottom of this ravine, waiting for someone to come, just like you are. I must have waited the whole night, because eventually the morning came. The sky was ablaze with light, but the place where I was lying was thrown into deep cold shadow. I felt, then, an unbearable yearning to leave the shadow and stand within that light. Looking back on it now, I think that yearning feeling was my instincts telling me, if you simply wait for the sun to cross that ridge, it will shine down only on your corpse. Someone will come. Yes, in this place that hope exists. It will always exist. I reach down and pull off my boot and roll up the cuff of my trousers, exposing my twisted limb. This is my right leg. It's not much to look at, and it's even worse to walk on, but it's mine. I'll have this crooked leg for the rest of my life, because eventually I climbed out of that ravine and hiked all the way home on a broken bone. That's impossible. I didn't want to die. It might be hard for you to believe, but that's what happened. This right leg is real. The tears I was shedding just now, and the pain I feel on my chest because Switch is leaving, those are real too. You're the one living in a fantasy. An endless night where the sun will never rise, and you can wait and indolently wallow in the hopes that someone will come for all eternity. Disappear, phantom. Psychopomp. Psychopomp. When I was lying where you are now, I didn't know that word. I didn't know anything. I was nothing but an illiterate brat. I honestly can't remember how I even managed to string two thoughts together. It's only when I was able to accept Winnie as family, and she brought the light of knowledge into my life, that I came to learn fancy words like that. Tell me, how did you learn it? Queen Beast. It's almost a relief.
For a while there, I was worried I really was talking to myself. Stretching out before my eyes is a plain of white earth below a sky of churning black clouds. Despite this apparently violent atmospheric phenomena, the air is perfectly still. I can't hear anything either. Feeling experimental, I bend down and pick up a handful of the white earth. The consistency is fine, even finer than sand. The closest comparison I could make would be to the flour from the mill. These particles of fine earth are sticking together in big clumps. They give the plain a craggy, rocky appearance, but there's no doubt that these soft rocks will quickly break apart underfoot. That will make walking on them difficult. As I think this, I wonder where I'm supposed to be walking to. I look all around me. There's nothing here to speak of. Am I supposed to be doing anything? I simply have been slain by the Queen Beast and arrived in the land of the dead. Well, since I can still think and feel, I might as well carry on as normal for now. With nothing better to go on, I simply begin walking in the direction I'm already facing. The mill? Not just a mill, the mill. What is it doing here? Maybe the stuff under my feet really is flour. Take another sample and touch it gingerly against my tongue. It's not flour. Who goes there? A familiar figure in black clothes suddenly appears atop the ridge directly below the mill. You. Brandy slides down the slope to my level, strides over and roughly grabs me by the collar. Seems as though she's looking to resume our previous interaction from when it adjourned. What are you doing here, peasant boy? I'd like to know that myself. Why are you peasants always so bloody irresolute? It's like you don't have fully formed brains. Let's try something else. How did you get here? I was, talking to myself. Only, not really, because it was actually Queen Beast, communicating through my memories. I think I must have upset her, because she ate me, or absorbed me into her, or something. I thought I might have died, but seeing you here makes me think otherwise. Me? I was under the impression I was dead. Nope, you're hanging in there. Switch is doing fine too, in case you were worried about that. Switch is that foreigner? I wasn't worried. It's discourteous to enter into a duel without the resolve to slay one's opponent. But who is Queen Beast if not myself? Well, I'm not totally sure about that. You're seriously trying my patience, boy. She's some kind of powerful evil spirit, and that sword you've been carrying around is something like her phylactery. Okay, that's a start. What else? Oh, she might be the restless ghost of an extraterrestrial dragon from the Age of Myth. What? It's just something I heard. Don't get mad at me. Seemingly satisfied, or at least totally convinced of my stupidity, Brandy sighs and releases my collar. She turns and paces away from me, then stands still with her arms folded. So we are within the Queen Beast, huh? But why is there a windmill here? What does it mean? Oh, that's the mill from back home in the valley. You must have seen it when you kidnapped Winnie.
I don't know, windmill was much the same as any other. I did find something interesting inside though. Interesting? Yes, come take a look at this. Brandy hikes back up the slope from whence she came, and I scramble clumsily along after her. On the flat ground at the foot of the mill is an old set of table and chairs that used to be kept inside. Did she carry them out here? Sitting on top of the table is... Look, it's someone's homemade chessboard. Isn't it just adorable? It must be the epitome of wabi-sabi. Thanks, I think. It's my board. I'm the one who made it. You? Yeah, I carved my name on the underside. Well, I'm not going to upset the board just to check. I'll take your word for it. What is your name, anyway? What? On second thought, it's really not important. You like chess? I'm pretty keen on it, yeah. When he taught me how to play. Bryony did, huh? Did you ever manage to win against her? No, I mostly played against the other millers, hence the board being inside the mill. We would mull over our next move as we turned the stone. My, how delightfully rustic. It could be a painting. Its patronising tone reminds me of when I first met Switch. Are all nobles like this? I've never won against Bryony either. I've never been better than her at anything. Is that why you kidnapped her? Maybe it was. But once again, I couldn't win. Well, sit down. Huh? Are you slow in the head? We're going to play a game. My sister is a wall that I can't ever scale. I can at least vent some of my frustration by thrashing her little protege. I think we need to think of a way to get out of here, though. Get out of here, and go back to that painful, tedious reality. You don't want to. I wonder. Maybe. Oh, just sit down for now. I'll give you something nice if you win. I don't need something nice. Just give me your word that you'll cooperate. Sure, whatever. Naturally, I'll be the black player. So you healed everyone's wounds with the power of the scabbard, huh? It's just as well as you did. Wounds inflicted by that blade will bleed without end. Even the slightest scratch will ultimately prove fatal. And you've been carrying something around like that, without a scabbard. In hindsight, it's obvious that you're the younger brother Ozzy told me about. I don't know how I didn't make the connection before. Well, it's a trivial detail, I guess. Again, That's the move you're going for, is it? If you think it was a bad play, just say so. I'm not so lenient, boy. I'll crush you with every ounce of my ability. Like so. Look, your freedom is slowly being stripped away. Bit by bit, I'll corner you. You're drooling. Stop gawking at me and make your move already. Right. Seeing you drooling like that reminds me though. That peddler I met in the city was you. City market was you, wasn't it? Yep, that's my alter ego. Hey, you're that kid from back then. You only just realised? Your face isn't very memorable. It's like looking at a potato or something. Yeah. So, what were you doing out there on the streets? Oh, you know, entertainment, intelligence gathering. I remember thinking those kings who would go incognito among their subjects were pretty cool, so I wanted to try it out myself. Your own face isn't so widely known. You probably could have dispensed with the disguise. There's the fun in that. More than anything else, it's a relief to become someone else for a day. I'm jealous of that adventurer girl, you know. She can go and do whatever she wants under that vague pretext of adventure. That's one comment I can't let slide, Brandy. We're on first name basis now, are we? You don't even know my name. Switch has far greater sense of her responsibilities than you might think. Certainly more than I do. From my perspective, you're the one who's just doing as you please. Well, you know that girl better than I do. I apologize for my careless remark. Anyway, that was a good move just now. Maybe there are some fangs in that hangdog mouth of yours. Maybe you're the type of person who just becomes stronger when they're fighting for someone else's sake. Maybe this won't be such a boring game after all. Exhausted, I throw myself backwards onto the white earth and stare up into the black sky. Brandy remains seated at the table, scrutinizing the complete game. A stalemate, huh? Damn it, it's worse than losing. That was the best I could do. Really, if it weren't for the possibility of a draw, chess would be the perfect game. We should. No. I'm not playing you again. I'm burnt out. Brandy gets up from her seat and stands over my supine form. You can call it my loss if you want. I'm feeling pretty defeated. No, you fought valiantly. In fact, for the you who did his utmost to defeat me, I have a little present. I reach up towards the string of carved beads Brandy is holding above me. She's holding them just out of my reach, and I find myself back on my feet again before I notice the triumphant grin on her face. Just like a dog. Here. Brandy takes my hand and presses the rosary into it. When you get out of here, you can give it to that girl. I don't know if I'll be able to. I'll probably never see her again. Why, did she go away somewhere? That's odd. I was sure she had a thing for you. Not that I have any interest in other people's lives. She's going back to Casper. Among other reasons, she's going to break our mutual curse by destroying that sword. What? We're all in agreement on that point. The sword has to go. I'm not disputing that. That's not the point. What is it then? Why are you so mad all of a sudden? It's her, that girl, Switch. There's no way I'm going to let her do me the favour of breaking the curse. There's no way I could live with the shame. I've got to get out of here after all. I'll leave on my own terms. With that declaration, Brandy turns on her heel and stomps resolutely away from the mill into the featureless wasteland. Where are you going? Where do you think? What are you waiting for? Come on, Otto. You do know my name. Have you just been screwing with me this whole time? I have to half run to keep up with Brandy's long stride as she presses on towards wherever it is she's going. She seems to have some idea, and I have none, so there's nothing else I can do. Before long, however, our destination impresses itself upon me. Through a parting in the towering clouds, I see it. It's an incomprehensibly gigantic crescent of the deepest blue, suspended in the sky, like the single masterful brushstrokes of some titanic painter using the black void of the heavens as their canvas. This is our world. I believe so. The night is coming to an end, so we should be able to see our lovely land of Byron soon. Then we're on the moon? No, that can't be right. There's a new moon tonight. It would be in total darkness, so I think it's best if you don't worry too much about it. It's probably something beyond the ken of us mere mortals. Even if you say that, how are we supposed to get from here, wherever here is, to there? If we keep moving forward, the answer will reveal itself. What a baseless supposition. And I'm the one without a fully formed brain. Even if we're not on the moon, surely we're on some kind of spherical celestial body. We'll just end up back where we started. Do you hear that? Yes, on the very edge of my hearing. What is that? What is that? A song? One more dream then. Or maybe not a dream. Maybe a pure memory. This might be my earliest memory. I'm very small, practically a baby. Someone, a woman, is softly murmuring a song. My head is resting on the woman's lap, and I'm looking towards the door which is just opened. On the threshold is a man and a boy of about 10. They must have been out checking the traps, as the boy is carrying an unmoving rabbit with a proud but solemn expression on his face. I have no trouble recognizing that overly grave countenance. I'm looking at brother. Then the man standing next to him is... and the woman upon whose lap my head is resting is... Ah, you tricked me. Let me out. No, I'm doing this for your own good. You have to get some sleep or you're not going to last. But her beastliness is... I'll look after her, just go to bed, okay? Bronwyn... I'll be back in a couple of hours to check on you, and you better be asleep when I do. I move away from the door, behind which Araby is now securely trapped. Feeling guilty despite acting in her best interests, I feel like I'm bullying some helpless small animal. I wonder if Echo didn't suggest this simply because she thought it would be funny. Shaking off these doubts, I make my way back to the room of my similarly helpless little sister. Ah! Not so loud. You're awake. How are you feeling? What did I just say? Oh, sorry, what? Water. Here. Refusing the cup, Brandy snatches the whole pitcher from me with a shaky grasp and brings it to her mouth, tipping the contents down with a succession of great gulps. Slow down, Brandy, you'll make yourself sick again. Give it a rest. I could hardly feel any worse right now. I feel like a corpse. She reaches over to the hand mirror on the bedside table and inspects her haggard reflection. I look like a corpse. Replacing the mirror, she buries her face in her hands, then runs her fingers through her thick hair. I knew I shouldn't have come back. Come back? From where? I was talking to the younger brother. The younger... Otto? That's the one. He's an interesting boy, not in the slightest bit cute, but rather interesting. We played some chess and then went for a little stroll. When we were gazing upon the world, we heard this song. Gazing upon the world? You still haven't explained where you were. After that, it felt like I had become a child again. You were there, and Mother, and Father, and Ozzy, and even Uncle Darius. For a brief, perfect moment, I thought it had all been nothing more than a horrible nightmare. I probably would have gone on believing that until I saw my wrist. The scar where my hand had been severed was still there. Scar? I follow Brandy's gaze down to her wrist, which mysteriously bears a ragged, off-colour band around its circumference,
where there was no trace of a wound before. I could feel something tugging strongly on the scar, like it wasn't a scar at all, but a manacle attached to a chain. And then here I was, lying in bed, feeling like I had just come back from the dead. I guess it really was a chain, huh? You can't stay in the past, you're bound to the present no matter what. Well, it was just a dream. I doubt I was happy back then, as I like to think I was. Brandy's chest shudders as she squeezes out one of her sad barking laughs. Yeah, I doubt it, but there's no way to go back and find out. Mother and father are gone, but we're still here, Brandy. They'd want us to keep living. What am I supposed to live for exactly? I've already taken my revenge. I drank my fill of it, and it left me totally empty. Did I bring you here simply to share this emptiness with you, sister? You can express those nihilistic sentiments all you like, but the core around which those feelings formed isn't something you can share, not with me, nor with anyone else. In the same way, the happiness I found after our mutual loss isn't something I can share with you. You really are conceited. I don't want it. Even a twin sister is a stranger, ultimately. But I'm glad you don't pity me, Brownie. I won't say it's not cruel and arbitrary that our fates were apportioned so, but it happened but what happens, happened. It simply can't be helped. Fate, huh? Fate. Fate. I can't go on blaming fate for the life I've lived until now. I could have just as easily found my own happiness, but I didn't. I'm the product of my own decisions, and nothing else. I'm going to take responsibility for those decisions. Brandy, you don't have to worry about anything for now, except recovering from your illness. Everything else can wait. But what? How long have I been bedridden for? About 2 weeks, but 2 weeks and 20 years of being a bone-idle bitch, I think that's long enough already. That's not how it works. Brandy makes a dismissive gesture with her hand and slides out of bed. Before I can stop her, she, still clad in only her underwear, crosses the room and pulls the door open and vigorously steps through, only to immediately crash into whoever was standing on the other side with enough momentum to knock both of them into her feet and into a tangle on the floor. What? You? Brandy?
What was that noise? Araby, how did you... pervert?
Araby, who had just appeared at the balcony, did she climb out the window, grabs something and hurls it across the room at one of the figures arrayed on the floor of the corridor. It strikes him squarely on the brow with a resounding bong.
Ah, Ozzy! Your beastliness.
Aw, cute. Following after the water pitcher, if that is what she cast, Araby throws herself onto Brandy, who was still trying to disentangle herself from the stricken Oswald, for it was he with whom she collided. It doesn't help matters.
You're alive. You're alive.
I'm alive, all right. I think you might have just killed Ozzy, though.
Oh, what a pity that would be.
Araby's face, which goes unseen by Brandy, is truly unsettling as she mutters those words. Is this going to be all right? She's still weirdly lively up here, huh? I'm ready to leave, Bronwyn. I've just come to say goodbye.
What about Otto?
That is... Wait, you don't just ignore me. Brandy makes an unsuccessful attempt to pry Araby away from her chest and stand up. We have some business to discuss before you skulk off.
Business?
Yes, business in the literal sense. I'm in no condition to cross swords with you at present. I can see that. Perhaps once you have concluded your current engagement? The high noon sun shining directly on my closed eyes is what finally rouses me from my deep slumber. I sit up and look around. It appears as though I've returned to the world of the living. The day is well underway. I'm in the same spot where I parted ways with Switch. Naturally, she's nowhere to be seen. That was some dream, is what I'm inclined to say, but the hard object pressing into my tightly clenched fist gives me cause to reconsider my words. I uncurl my fingers and stare in mute astonishment at the string of bone beads sitting in my open palm. Surely some act of magic placed it there. There's no reasonable explanation as to why else I should have it. But who wrought the magic, and why? I can answer the second question, at least. I'm supposed to give it to Switch. Switch. She's probably long gone by now. I mutter these pessimistic words, and no sooner have I done so, no sooner have they reached my ears, than I feel a shock of self-loathing wash over me like a freezing ocean wave. With such force does it strike me that I practically lose my balance. I struggle frantically to my feet, as if to save myself from drowning. What? What a small and mean spirit I have. By some miracle, and that is for how I should think of it, I'm holding this rosary in my hands, this token of some unknown person's deep, pious faith. In spite of this, I have the temerity to utter such faithless words. Ah, damn my soul. I feel as though I could pace about on this hillside and continue to chastise myself all day, such is the staggering depth of my stupidity and ignorance, but I have a place I need to be. I turn and begin running back towards the city as fast as my twisted leg will carry me. I'm not running because I'm in a hurry, I just feel like it. As I run back towards that place, I laugh without restraint, like some joyous fool. I really must insist you take it. For the last time, no. My hunch that Switch would be leaving on a dragon was on the mark. She's the type who will travel in style when she can, after all. I find her along with everyone else, including the awakened Brandy at the palace's roost. Under the disinterested gaze of half a dozen dragons, she appears to be locked in an argument with our host. In that case, give me back my sword. I'll destroy it myself. I can't do that either. Otto. Hello, Otto. Where have you been? You weren't at the inn. He was probably stewing in his sorrows in the bosom of some voluptuous harlot. Eh? Otto, as your big sister, I'm very... I wasn't. Okay, Otto, remember, I believe in you. She doesn't look like she believes in me at all. Damn you, Eco. Anyway, what's going on here? What are those two fighting about? She's trying to pay me. Huh? It's now that I notice the object Brandy is carrying in her hand, a familiar drawstring bag. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of destroying that sword gratis. I would tarnish my honor or something. Honor? Since when have you had any honor? I don't like it either, but I'm going to have to conduct myself in a more honourable fashion from now on. So she says, punctuating this outburst with a childish stomp of her foot. I move over to Switch and draw her to one side. I think you should take the gold, Switch. I can't. This isn't a job like all of the others. It's a personal matter. Brandy is trying to take responsibility for her decisions, just like you are. She's just being prideful. I don't think that's entirely true. I think she would prefer to see to this matter herself, but since there's so much that has to be done here in Byron, she's got no choice but to entrust it to you. I understand your feelings, Switch. Isn't that enough? Switch walks back over to Brandy and takes the bag from her, and then hands it straight back. Make up your mind.
Due to a certain mishap that occurred during this excursion, I happen to owe the Adventurers Guild a dragon. I'm buying one of these guys from you. Let's see, how about that swift-looking chap with the green scales? Do we have a deal? Deal. The business apparently concluded. The two women shake hands, or rather, it's more as though each is trying to crush the others in a vice-like grip. Suddenly, Brandy leans in towards Switch and speaks to her in a low voice. I'm probably the only one close enough to overhear her. But our score won't truly be settled until we meet again in battle, Cesarine of Casper. How did you... You might be mistaken for a guileless brute, but my military victories have always been built on the gathering of intelligence. You should be careful. Your true identity is not well kept a secret as you believe it to be. Brandy pulls away from Switch and graces the two of us with a cheery smile. Well then, it's sayonara until next time, princess. Farewell, Switch the Switch the Scathed? You tried, brother. It may be beyond my abilities, but I'll try to keep an eye on the guild for you. Thank you, Oswald, but before that, make sure you keep an eye on Otto, yeah? Ah, yes. Take care, Switch. I'll also do my best to make sure Otto's eyes don't stray. Winnie, please. Thanks, Bronwyn. You might be my greatest rival in that regard, though. Echo, don't cause any more trouble for Otto. Don't fall off your dragon. really out here saying it in red, huh? Wow, the way you said that almost made it sound like a curse. Perish the thought. Perhaps I would grant you a boon as a token of my goodwill. A boon? What did you just spit on me? What is this? A tangerine pip? It's a pip I've been taking special care of. By my most high honour, that pip and its progeny will grow wherever you would plant them, even that barren desert country of yours. Fruit trees in the desert, huh? Thanks, Echo. That's actually really thoughtful. The delivery could have used some work, though. Before I realise it, the only two people left on the landing stage are Switch and myself. So, Sleeping Beauty is up and about again, eh? Now there's nothing stopping you from coming with me. I'm not falling for that one. Sorry. Hey, I wouldn't have said it if I thought you were going to jump at the suggestion. You look like you've figured something out. Nothing has changed, but I don't feel as though I'm being abandoned anymore. Because I have faith, perhaps? I also have something I'd like to give you, Switch. Here? Why not here? What are you imagining at a time like this? Ah, well, I was just thinking this is actually the longest we've gone without doing it. I guess you're right. Entire CG cut from this part. Okay, cool. I'll do that after the stream ends. Memories of Switch's live, nobile body writhing in pleasure beneath mine suddenly swims through my mind like beautiful rose-coloured fish. As though the weight of the world were just dropped on my shoulders, I crashed to my knees. Otto? Exactly how long am I going to have to go without having sex with Switch? Oh no. Oh no. I thought I was ready to say goodbye till now, but I'm not. I had prepared my heart, yes, but my willpower is still lacking. Yeah, my late friend, you were right all along.
We men really are very simple creatures.
Otto, are you okay?
Switch is crouched down at my level now, and peering at my face with a look equal parts concerned and embarrassed. I'm sorry for saying something so weird. I wasn't trying to strike a nerve this time, I promise. Damn it, she's just too cute. I feel stupid making her worry. I focus on Switch's cute, beautiful face and manage to drag my thoughts up from base animal lust to a pure, more chaste feeling of love. Right, I love Switch. It bears stating, I love her. Her kindness, her liveliness, her dazzling intelligence and imagination, her weird sense of humour and outlandish taste, even her tactlessness, boastfulness and narcissistic side are all precious to me. There might be a vein of something ugly and painful inside her too, but I'll accept that as well. She's a ruby with 1,000 facets, a one-of-a-kind bird of paradise, an ordinary girl of 18. Knowing her physically is just a small, really a very small part of it. I tell this to myself, and to my surprise, realize I mean it. It's all the other things she's given me that I'm going to struggle to do without. Whatever, struggle on, young man. I take Switch's hand and stand up, bringing her with me. Then I reach into my pocket and withdraw the rosary. Here, this is what I wanted to give you. I let the chain of beads slide out of my hand and into Switch's cupped palms.
This is...
As I expected, she brings it close to her face and gives it a customary appraisal.
Prayer beads carved out of dragon bone, and these characters, old Casparian, huh? This is old. Old as an ancient artifact old. It's most intriguing. Do you like it? Yes, very much. But by which means did you come to acquire such a rare item?
I'll have you know, it was the trophy of a hard-fought battle.
Oh, and you fought this battle for me?
I fought it for my own sake, because I wanted to see you.
Aw. You really are my knight, Otto.
It seems as though I've finally earned that promotion.
Do you know what the words carved on here mean?
My Casparian has a long way to go.
Keep at it.
Given the context, I assume it's some kind of prayer. Switch reads the mysterious carved characters in her native tongue. If I'm not mistaken, those are the same words you spoke at the conclusion of that story you told me on the boat.
Well remembered. It's a very common saying in Casper. Practically a cliché. A translation would go something like, humbled as I am by this world, I forsake all gain and only ask that my journey end where it began. A prayer every weary wanderer has made at least once in their life, I'm sure. In Casparian, those words form a sort of loop, but they're often integrated into circular motifs like this. What's wrong? Am I boring you?
I wish I could listen to you ramble on forever, is what I want to say. But it's not possible. I can't always have what I want.
I was just thinking, those are words to live by. I should give you something in return. There are prayers of desperation and longing, and there are expressions of gratitude too. Thank you, Otto, thank you. Now, close your eyes.
Before I do as Switch asks, the last thing I see is her face close to mine, filling my vision. Yeah! Woo! And then I'm rendered speechless. It doesn't matter. I have nothing left to say. Even in the nebulous and uncertain year prior to Queen Brandy's official coronation last month, the Port Authority of Big Bear was apparently carrying on with its business as usual. I wonder if they've noticed the country's leadership has changed hands. Granny's boat, which I had apparently illegally docked, had at some point been seized by some jobsworth and impounded at God knows where, with its return to me conditional on the payment of some petty fine. I have no trouble paying the fine. It would be an infuriatingly minor sum even if the palace wasn't covering the expense. But that's only assuming I can locate the vessel first. So I've been spending this baking hot midsummer day wandering up and down the city's extensive waterfront, trying to do just that. I thought I would enjoy a break from assisting Winnie with the official duties, that is to say, the mountains of paperwork she's undertaken, but what should have been a small personal errand has proved to be even more stressful and puzzling than a day hunched over my desk in the palace's administrative office. I've gotten to the point where I'm tempted to call it quits, at least for today. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's take another crack at it tomorrow. Maybe I'll get switched to help. I catch myself doing that from time to time. You'd be laughing if she could see me now. Excuse me. Oh. Ah. I thought it might have been you. Hello. Hiya. Hasn't it been a while? I'm surprised you remembered me. I've no difficulty remembering that incident. This is what it means to put one's foot in one's mouth. One scene left plus the epilogue? Okay, I can probably finish this tonight then. I should apologise for my actions back then. My rash behaviour must have made things worse for you. Oh no, that's not true. When I look back on that moment, I feel it's because you were there that I realised what was happening to me. I ran away from that place after that. I've never returned. Because of me, I can't think of what I could have done. It was those beautiful clear eyes of yours. I felt them looking right through me. I can feel myself blushing, even through the sweltering heat. Still, that's a good thing, I suppose. What are you doing out here then? Have you found a new occupation? No, I'm still in the same line of work. I'm just looking out for myself now. Outside of the entertainment quarter? Isn't that incredibly dangerous? Yes. Oh, please don't feel guilty. I'm simply following the path fate has laid out for me. Those are strong words, but the person speaking them looks as though she'll break under the slightest touch. I feel like someone is hammering a nail into my chest. So, perhaps if you're not busy, maybe you'd like to, The girl trails off, colouring up to her ears and averting her face as she presses her voluptuous chest outwards with her upper arms. I'm simultaneously innocent and salacious. The simultaneously innocent and salacious display is too much for my deprived libido to bear. I must be a hair's breadth away from dragging her into the shade of the nearest alleyway and having my dirty way with her outrageous body before I just barely rein in the impulse. I'm begging you, please don't tempt me. I'm very sorry. Of course you wouldn't want to, with me. No, it's not like that, but it's only that I already have someone dear to my heart. Oh, that's truly wonderful. That person must be very happy. I hope so. Perhaps I could employ you for something else, however. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for a certain boat. As my gaze drifts demonstratively across the water, it suddenly alights on the very thing I'd been looking for all day. Ah, there it is. Over there, it's my boat. Or rather, it's the boat I'm borrowing, you see. I glance back at the girl, to find her frozen in place as if she had been turned to stone. That boat, where did you find it? Well, I didn't find it, exactly. A nice old lady living in the ruins of Dashford Village lent it to me. I'm here to see to it that it's returned to her safely. Granny? Granny, you know of her? She's I lived in Dashford until it was raised in the war last year. I thought she had died. I thought everyone was dead. I had no idea. If I had known
Then, for what reason did I?
The girl falls silent and slowly drops to her knees. After a time, she begins to weep. Her sobs are quiet at first, but they grow steadily in intensity until she's practically shrieking. Her shoulders heaving with exertion as her clenched fists pull at her dress and pound against the tear-soaked dirt. Whether she's being released from something or pulled down into something, I don't know. There's a bottomless, pitch-black pit in everyone's heart. I kneel down before her and put her pitifully downcast head into my chest. I feel terribly self-conscious, and I doubt I'm much of a comfort, but it's what she did for me once. And because of that, I was able to raise my head again. You're sure you want to leave right away?
Yep, there's no point in hanging around now. You're the only person here I'd want to say goodbye to.
The girl is seriously way too charming. My vow of faithfulness to Switch is in jeopardy as long as she is around. Probably for the best that she's leaving so soon. By the way, Granny also lent my companion some clothes to wear, but they're here in this parcel I'm carrying. Might they be yours by any chance? I offer the neatly wrapped parcel to the girl. She takes it from me and carefully opens it, then gives a laugh of delight and beams up at me.
That's right, these are mine.
She refastens the package and places it in the stowage of the little boat, now freed from its bondage and reunited with its true owner.
It's just, as well as I have all this rowing ahead of me, I'm going to have to lose a bit of weight before I can fit into them again. The food in this city is rather too delicious. It's hard to know when to stop, don't you agree?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Hey, credits. Still having no luck. One of the other people who helped out is watching too, but they aren't registering as a viewer for some reason. That's fine. Oh, I want them to know that I thoroughly enjoyed this. They've done good work. Honestly, everybody has. Oh, thank you for playing. A black storm blew through the country last night. Born on the sea wind, she soon found purchase on the land and began to stomp and clap and rampage about. For just one night she was the uncontested champion. But when I pushed open the door of the welcoming house where I had waited out her reign, there was no trace of her left, only the fair blue sky. Whether she had been carried on to terra incognita, or had simply been torn to shreds in the jagged mountains that choke our land, I cannot say.
It's your fault I lost, you know. You were making all that racket, I couldn't concentrate. Ah!
Ooh. I like nun habits. One of my favourites. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. As if admonishing me for my accusation, or perhaps my poor sportsmanship, a sudden blast of wind descends from the heavens like a falcon, sending my skirts flap and threatening to pluck the coif off my head.
I'm sorry, I was being cheeky. It was my loss.
That nice old lady was frighteningly good at chess after all. To think I'd finally meet my match in an inconspicuous place like this. I must stop by and play her again on the way back. In the years that have passed since I assumed the post of provincial governor, I must have gone up and down this forest road dozens of times. My steed is a reliable fellow who was most patient with me when I was new to riding, and is yet to lead me wrong to this day. There are no major forks, and what few turnings there are almost impossible to mistake for the main throughway. On top of that, the huge shape of the mountains flanking the valley to the northwest are a constant reference point. Nevertheless, in spite of all these factors, I appear to be quite lost. No matter how much I ride, I cannot seem to reach the edge of the forest.
Oh, I want to go home. I want to take a bath.
These vain grumblings are swallowed up by the vast silence of the forest. However, as if in reply, I begin to distinguish something on the very edge of my hearing. It sounds like running water and women singing. It has done me little good heretofore, so I throw caution to the wayside and dismount my horse. I leave him to graze in placid ignorance at the side of the road, and set off in the direction of the mysterious voice. Not long before I arrive in a clearing occupied by a meadow of pretty flowers, a beautiful spring and an equally beautiful woman.
Bronwyn, what a pleasant surprise. Good day, Echo.
This person is probably the reason I've become so inexplicably waylaid. I know for a fact that Otto planned the road to steer as far away from the spring as possible, that being her condition for allowing him to go ahead with its construction, and yet I arrived here within minutes of leaving it. I've known her for some time now, and I doubt she means any harm, but spirits act with a morality that doesn't always fall in line with that of us mortals.
It's been too long since you've come to see me. Have you been very busy with your work? It's difficult at times, but it's a worthy undertaking. I can safely say this province is now the most literate part of the country.
That's wonderful. There's nothing I enjoy more than articulate, intelligent company.
You've changed your hairstyle, I see. What a pity. I do miss the sensation of burying myself in that great fluffy tangle sometimes. You have changed a lot as well. The last I saw you, you were still about the same height. I've merely returned to my original, super beautiful form.
Well, I may have gotten a little more beautiful.
It did not take long as long as I anticipated either. Perhaps Otto's effort to revitalize the valley have also somehow revitalized my forest.
At any rate, I feel good and energetic.
How is young Otto, by the way? It feels as though I see him even less than I see you these days.
I'm starting to understand why she's brought me here. Good grief, I've been kidnapped more times as a commoner and a civil servant than I ever was as a princess.
I'm afraid I don't see him much either, as of late. He's been spending all his time doing field work up in the mountains, or studying principles of arcane metallurgy in the Chief's Forge. He's become fascinated with certain properties of the ore that can be found in the valley. He says he's going to write his doctorate thesis on the subject. The other week he sent my office a lengthy report concluding with a suggestion that we establish a mine up there to increase the province's revenue. A mine? That's just... Oh, what is that boy thinking? I'm sure he was only playing with the idea, but... Well, I'm on the way to see him now, but I almost feel as though I'm going there for an official meeting rather than spending some quality time with my younger brother. He's a grown man now, I suppose. It's a difficult feeling to process.
Well, don't you worry about that for now, my dear friend.
Here in this forest you can forget all about the passing of time and the changes it brings. I was just about to take a bath. Would you care to join me?
I stare at the fantastically clear water of the spring. It seems to glow with its own subtle light. My sweaty, road-dirty clothes feel almost unbearably uncomfortable. Whatever her motives are, I doubt there's any harm in just taking a little dip. It's not as though it's the first time I've done it. I have to practically peel my clothes off. I envy Echo's ability to dismiss hers with a mere thought. Soon enough, however, I'm down to what I was born in.
What are you staring at? Still a bit bigger, huh? Eh? Never mind, let's get in, shall we?
We cross the soft grass of the meadow on bare feet and gently lower ourselves down into the cool water.
Ah, it's cold, but it feels way too good. I'm going to dissolve. Go on, make yourself comfortable. Ah, I feel like I could spend the rest of my life in here. It's not a joke when a human says that. Well, hopefully we won't be kept waiting that long.
Ooh, looking good. She's late. I was so absorbed in study that I had failed to notice, but it's gotten rather dark. Dusk has fallen. Winnie is a punctual person. She should have arrived hours ago. I have my suspicions as to who is likely to be detaining her, but it's too late to do anything about it until tomorrow. Ah, what a pain. To lose a whole day riding to the forest and back. Rising from my cross-legged position as I grumble, I realize too late that my leg has fallen asleep. I lose my balance and keel sideways, taking a towering stack of books down with me. Ah! With a desperate half-paralyzed lunge, I manage to catch the deceptively small volume on top of the pile before it plunges into the flames of the hearth, taking its innumerable mysteries with it. I give another start when I remember it's on loan. If I were to carelessly destroy it, the retribution I would suffer from the university would put me 6 feet under. At this moment, that door bangs open, and an ugly gargoyle-like face appears around it. You in here, Doc? I've told you to stop calling me that. I know, man. I only do it because it gets on your nerves. What are you doing down there, anyway? Roche takes my strangely arrayed form with an amused expression. I'm just doing some stretches before going to bed. For my back, you know. What are you doing here? Ah yeah, get a load of this, man. It's showing up again. What has? The ghost at the foot of the mill. It's all anyone's been talking about recently. I'm pretty sure they're talking about whether or not you're losing your mind. Wait, what were you doing at the mill at this time of night? I swear, if you have been stealing flour again, It wasn't me who saw it this time. It was Timon. Timon? You know, Rimon's brother. Ah. So someone other than you has seen it now, eh? Maybe it's worth investigating after all. Right. Wait, what's that supposed to mean? Anyway, you're the expert on all that weird magical shit, right? Go and check it out. I step out of my musty hovel and into the cool evening air. The stiff breeze feels as though it's blowing away the dust that's been accumulating between my ears. In the western sky, there remains still a faint band of pink, but it looks as though most of the village has turned in for the night. Unlike Roche, they've been working hard since the crack of dawn. A cloudless night. Cloudless sky on the night of a new moon. The stars are going to be sensational. Nights like this are your favourite, I seem to recall. Are you looking up at the sky right now? There's no reply to my inquiry, only the sobering murmur of the wind. I give a small laugh at my own expense for this overly wistful notion, and look across the lake to the mill, which is now turning smoothly, as it has done for some years now. To my surprise, there really is someone standing there. Oh, damn, he's handsome. It can't be. I break into a limping run, rounding the bank of the lake as swiftly as I can, not taking my eyes away from the apparition lest it should disappear. Haven't had to do that in a while. Taking a better look at the figure, I can only scratch my head as to why I had mistaken her for Switch. My lonely old mind must be playing tricks on me. But still, there's something strangely familiar about this unfamiliar visitor. She looks to be a girl around Remon's age, but this air of haughtiness she's projecting, and this prickling sensation on the back of my neck. A newly born earth spirit? Not from the forest, however, but from the valley itself. I'm filled with a sense of pure wonderment at the boundless mystery of this world. Until this worthy sentiment is unexpectedly blindsided by a truly pathetic and self-serving worry. That is, I hope she hasn't come to take me to task for the experiments and surveys I've been conducting. I have a feeling I'll be getting enough of that from Echo the next time we meet. Suddenly the young spirit breaks her fixed gaze away from the turning wheel to stare unblinkingly at me instead. Ready or not, it's showtime. I smile in what I hope is a kindly, non-threatening manner and dip into the most graceful bow my hunched and lopsided posture can muster. Good evening, young lady. To what do we owe the pleasure of your company on this fine evening? I'm laying it on a bit thick, I know, but on the whole, spirits are prideful sorts who seem to respond positively to excess deference on the part of humans. Tell me, human, what is this large machine? What? The mill? The mill. By what means does it turn? And for what purpose does it do so? Tell me. Once again, I've been thoroughly humbled by my own pettiness. There isn't a shred of hostility I'd wrongfully anticipated in the child's clear eyes. The only fire that blazes there is the silent flame of curiosity, a fresh and unquenchable desire to know what is. I find a smile on my face again, but this time it's a real one. Good grief, you're just full of questions, aren't you? Why don't we start by introducing ourselves? In this land surrounded by mountains, like the jaws of great beast, where a fine wind turns the wheel unceasing, the grind goes on. Oh, that's smooth. Just cuts right back to the title screen. Oh. Oh well. Thank you for putting this game together. Thank you for watching and chatting. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go and no worries, thanks for streaming. I'm going to go and turn off the streamer mode and enjoy the CGs I missed. Yeah, bye bye.